Hi, so with Expo being over and done with, in response to something that was happening before Expo, I noticed that there was a fair amount of people asking about their props. Like, would this make it into a convention? Is this too large for MCM Expo? Stuff like that. I mean, there are full rules and guidelines and stuff. They're probably posted. The MCM's Facebook page, the MCM's forums, stuff like that. They're all over the place. You can find them. But just as a bit of a, well, these are the rules. What can I do to meet these rules? Like large props and stuff. People asking like, size of my prop, will it be able to get in there? Make them collapsible. I've made plenty of dismantleable props in the past, whether it be that you can get away with like bolting stuff together and whatever else. It might even be part of the design, so you can actually incorporate it into the design. You can also make cover pieces for bolts and whatever else if anything's particularly hardcore. There's also things like plumbing fixtures and whatever else. They will fit together quite snugly, like for tubing for pole arms and stuff like that. So that would be a way for you to get into the convention and whatever else. It also means that you can move around a lot easier. Like old costume I did a long time ago, Ikaku from Bleach, and his 3-section spear. Outside, it looks great and whatever else to be walking around with this massive long spear and stuff. But I'd actually spent a few extra pounds and found a spear that does disconnect into 3 pieces, fitted a spearhead and whatever else. And I just made up a simple bag, so when I'm walking around inside, disconnect the 3 pieces, they go into the bag goes over my shoulder. I haven't got to walk around inside with loads of people bumping into me, and I'm carrying an epic long staff and it's going to cause problems. So yeah, make things be able to be broken down, and yeah. So now to get over to the main part of this video, which is a build method to try and meet, I'd like to think, all convention standards. Like, it should be fine for absolutely any convention. This will be a build method that's probably already familiar to anyone who's an experienced maker. I mean, I wouldn't even call myself an experienced maker, though, truth be told. I would call myself more a tinkerer, because I make things by loads of different methods, although this is the one that I'm sticking with now for most things that I make. It's something that comes close to how, well, comes close in some ways to how LARPers make their weapons and shields and what have you. It uses a core, then you've got your foam and whatever else, and then you've got a skin for it and detail pieces, but detail pieces are kind of irrelevant. They can still be kind of whatever you want them to be. So yeah, in previous conventions and whatever else, like back in the day and stuff, you were absolutely fine. Like, this is a piece of timber that I got from somewhere else. Raised detail made out of, I can't honestly remember, just a handle wrap, and then some more wood makes up the pommel. But it's like, yep, this would be probably still be okay in a lot of conventions today. But how times are changing and the rules change and whatever else, and also thinking about it semi-logically, large weapon like this, and I know it's only a sword, you might not think it's the larger end of things considering what some cosplayers carry around with them. It's wood. If you tripped on it, or if you turned, or if someone's walking past you or whatever else at an awkward angle, they catch themselves, it hurts. Odds are it's going to hurt them before the wood fails and breaks. So, yes, affordable to get hold of, pretty much universal to work with. However, it's, yeah, still okay for some things, but as I say, I'm trying to get out of that methodology. So on to the build. We're going to start at the start, which is sticks. No. These would be, I have a small pile of these outside. I buy longer ones when I need to. Try and get it in shot. So these are about not that long, like enough for like short swords and props and stuff like that. These are fiberglass tent poles. I salvaged mine, load of mine from some stuff that was getting thrown out, and you get plenty of, well, you know how many poles go into a tent. You can get far longer ones. You can order them specially, more durable than these. These, if you really went pedal to the metal, because they are hollow, they will crack and they will split open. So, the solid ones, however, like, order them online. You can order them. I think you can get like 2.5 metre, maybe even 3 metre lengths of them. But yeah, those form your core. You can fiberglass and carbon fiber as a core. Don't use wood, because if wood splits you get the sharp end of it, and for the rest of this build, being foam and whatever else, it will over time, it will pierce and pierce and pierce and pierce, and eventually that sharp edge could come close to the surface, and also you'll lose all the structure of your prop. It will start becoming bendy and useless. But yeah, safety of it is that you'll end up with a sharp edge, and the sharp edge will tear and munch through foam, and if it gets near the edge and you catch someone, that sharp edge could pierce the outer layer, and then the next layer is the person you've bumped into. So fiberglass rods, carbon fibre rods, a bit more expensive but strong as hell. You can order them online, you can salvage them like I have for smaller props and stuff. You might get lucky and find longer ones. Anywho, onto the foam part of it. Actually, for the structure, like the shape and whatever else of your prop, we'll be using... There are different types of foam that are available to be used. I've got a couple of offcuts kicking around here. So, one that everyone should be familiar with, your EVA foam floor mats. I get mine off of Amazon. It's kind of a typical length. I think these are about tape measures abandoned me. Short ruler. These are 10mm, the ones that I'm using and whatever else, and I'll use these fairly universally for a lot of things like swords and stuff like that. You can build up layers with them and whatever else, although to build them up in layers would require you, these ones have come with this texture to them, sanding that off. Takes a little bit of time, but screw it. Another option is Plasterzote foam. Great stuff. Usable in the same sort of capacity, but you can get these at different densities. So, and also you can get them. You can order them in thicknesses. You can order EVA foam in different thicknesses. Also, but be warned: don't buy the dirt cheap stuff. It tends to have a lot of air pockets and pock marking and stuff on it, and that stuff you've got to fix. And for the little bit of money that there is in the difference, you might as well buy the decent stuff. Craft foam, everyone knows it, everyone loves it, so that's like finer detail raised pieces and whatever else. So working with the foam, right, so things like Stanley knife, then things like breakaway blades, stuff like that. You'll go through them, I mean, especially after you've glued them, if you've got any carving to do after things have been glued together, because the blades will get a little bit gummy. You can save the blades by like using a grindstone or whatever else to try and sharpen them back up, but I get like eight for £1. I'm not really that worried about it. And they do see a lot of use. Also I have a low voltage soldering iron, or I think voltage is the right word, I'm not an electrician, but a low to medium powered soldering iron that can be used for like any intricate line work and stuff that has to be put into the foam, because carving it in is fine, takes a hell of a long time, and you've got to have a dab hand with your blades. With the soldering iron, it's just like drawing it on. Once the soldering iron's got to temperature, it does all the work for you. And I'll put a link down below to one of my other builds, a Harlequin hammer that I did a load of wood texture on. And that is all the texture work on that is done using a soldering iron, and the entire hammer texturing it probably took me about half an hour, because it saves that much time. If I was to do that with a knife, I'd probably still be doing it right now. So glues, you can use hot glue for it. I'd probably steer clear of super glues and stuff, because you'd either use a lot of it, or some foams can react adversely to super glue. PVA glue I don't really think holds much to foam, just the nature of the beast. I don't think it holds a hell of a lot to it. You can buy, I use an awful lot of now contact adhesive, contact cement, impact glue, whatever. I get mine from Wix. This can is about £10. You can buy it in like glue tubes and whatever else. Try and steer clear of the cheapest stuff again, because to me it's very watery, and it takes a hell of a long time to be able to do anything with it. And even then, your actual points of contact, sometimes they just won't hold. And your contact. Sorry about any noise in the background. I've got my window open. Your contact glue, just a bit of a PSA on how it works, and an airplane coming into my house. Right, so a bit of PSA about contact glue. spread it on, paint it on, whatever. It will be shiny and whatever else, as any wet substance will be when you paint it across. Leave it until it, I mean, this stuff goes kind of the coloration of like fudge, and it'll be you should be able to kind of pat it with your finger once it's ready to go, more or less. If it's still glossy and wet, not ready to go. Once it's gone to that, once it's lost all its wet and whatever else, then it's ready to contact. But once it's ready at that point, you need to be accurate with where you're gluing, because it will destroy your foam. The glue will be stronger than the foam. It will rip itself apart trying to come apart. There's a little bit of to and from with that. Also, to try and save your contact glue, if you buy it in amounts like this, I usually have a bigger bottle of it, but I use like these disposable bottles with applicator nozzle to it, just because it's got a capped end to it, so that the glue survives a lot longer. Always keep your glue sealed, because the fumes will, well, they'll work wonders with you. Yeah, so keep that in there, because the glue will cure all by itself. The entire can will set, and I'm speaking from experience on that. Right, so you've got your hot glue. You could also use, there's also you can use spray glues. This is carpet adhesive spray glue. It's a little bit messier though, so I'll use that if I've got anything like a large area to work with or whatever else, because that will cover large areas a lot faster. The contact adhesive is a little bit more expensive, but it's the same concept. Both pieces, you treat this just like a spray contact glue, both sides, although it sets up a lot quicker, so the whole it's starting to change colour and whatever else, you don't get to wait for that. I've kind of worked out you get like a minute before this spray glue is ready to go. Anywho, video's starting to go a bit longer than I was hoping. Right, on to skinning it and stuff. Because I like the LARP method. I find this a material, an easy material to use with it. Liquid latex. It'll take paint for its coloration and whatever else. By nature, it will set like an off-white colour. It will take pretty much anything. Well, I use acrylic paints like from the works and from the range and stuff. I just use acrylic paints to pigment it up. I use about a 10% paint to latex. Make sure it's mixed up well, otherwise you'll get odd shades and stuff. Latex will ruin paintbrushes. That's just a little bit of a warning. What you're using, and also once again it will cure all by itself, which is why you'll see that I've got a latex glove stuffed in the aperture where the paintbrush handle sticks out of, just so that air doesn't get into there. Makes it last a bit. It still won't last infinitely. It will still go wrong in there on its own. But yeah, any paints that you like to do. There are some substances that will cause latex to rot, like I think there's varnishes and stuff that will cause latex to rot, and so it makes it absolutely useless. When it comes to painting latex onto something, make sure that you do a wrap around. Try not to leave any edges, because the latex will start to rise up from it, and you can in fact peel it straight back off if you wanted to. In a lot of cases, you can peel it straight back up. So if you do a wrap around so that it's like it is skin around the item, then it's all sealed, it's all in there and whatever else. The latex build it up. You can smooth it down however you like. I mean, you might end up with brush streaks and whatever else. You can actually work out brush streaks like the side of your finger or stuff, because the latex cures. You just work it off and it dries pretty quickly off your hands. If you've got obviously an allergy to latex, then this probably isn't the method for you. You can paint on top of latex, so I've done that plenty of times. Inks and whatever else for some weathering. But yeah, so I've got a couple of little examples here. I did have a few more examples kicking around of some props that I've made using this method. First of them is, just aim my lamp up a little bit, probably a bit of glare, but whatever. It's glossy because of an optional extra that I've done to this, which I won't go into. Has made it completely glossy, but that's, as I say, something else. This is the axe from A Wolf Among Us. The head is actually just foam. That was my phone. So that head is just foam, but it's not going anywhere, and that's partially because of the core that's in here, and the core, even if I'm giving it all I've got, it's got a carbon fibre rod through it. The carbon fibre rod is going nowhere, so yes, the foam's still got movement in it. That's the nature of foam, it compresses, and that's part of why I like it. It's all been latexed, and the latex had metallic paint in there and whatever else, which is why it's all nice and colourful and stuff. Handle wrap is still just cloth, but that's contact glued on. So yeah, that's all made out of foam, all latexed up, all painted up and stuff. And then you've got Mjolnir hammer. It's once again a short core. It's got a piece of foam cut into a U shape on the end of this because it's the top surface I was a little bit concerned about. So it's got a piece of foam attached to the core, and then that foam is attached to this foam camera. Looking at my lamp for the camera, you can see that little dimple there. That's actually a little bit of it. The foam underneath pushing upwards. That was just to absolutely make sure there's no chance of it puncturing. This is a hollow box of EVA foam with a soft camping mat foam as the very face of this, so that if I did ever clump anyone with it, there's no chance of it. The handle is also wrapped in camping mat foam, which I'm not sure how well it will show up. Aha, that's better. You can kind of see by the light shine bouncing off of it all the little dimples and stuff that are on there. That's because of the patterning that's supposed to be on the hammer from the picture that I was using. That's etched in using a soldering iron, and then camping mat foam for this piece at the top, and then just an offcut of some leather that I had. That's something that I've actually forgot to touch on. There's a little bit of a yes and a no about camping mat foam. There are loads of different grades of camping mat foam. There's some that I've used for specific reasons, some that I won't use for specific reasons. This is cost, I think they're about £2.50 per, and this blue camping mat foam, I wish I had a lot more of it. It's fine for a sander and stuff like that. It will take latex absolutely fine. You can draw on it and whatever else. This stuff is fine. It sands. When it sands, it gets a little bit of a it like fluffs up towards the edges. But if you can kind of peel it all away, and it comes along in one long string. It's absolutely fine to sand. I like using this for any edge that I know that's going to see any flat edge that I know that's going to have a lot of contact, like the faces of that hammer. When it comes to weapon edges like this axe, this is just EVA foam sanded to the edge. But there is, where have you gone? You have eluded me. I have another example of a foam here, which I can't actually find. There's another camping mat, other camping mat foam types. When you sand them, because of what their mixture that they're made of, they will melt or they will chew up, and they'll look horrendous. So just be a little bit wary. And I mean, some of them you can pick up cheap enough. That's why I experiment with stuff like that, to try and figure out what's the best for what purposes. So right, so this, I'm going to cut myself off here because I'm fastly approaching 20 minutes. Anyone got any questions about stuff, anything that I've overlooked, because I probably have, throw in a comment below, or as I say, there'll be a link to my Facebook build page. Fire me questions on there. I'll answer everything, or if you even want some help with trying to figure out how to make a prop, I like a challenge, so feel free to fire me questions about stuff like that. So I hope this has helped with people like gearing towards like May Expo or any other conventions in the UK, or even conventions in any other part of the world. I'd like to think that this kind of method is relatively universal. So yeah, I think that's about all I had to get covered. Yeah, so have fun making stuff, and I'll see you guys in another video probably. Bye.